West Lakeland Town Board to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's see. Next item on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes of the regular town board meeting on March 2nd, 2026. I don't really have any changes I need to see made, except I would ask Troy what he thinks about adding to, on the noise regulation review, last paragraph there. It says that the township's authority is limited. Would it be appropriate to add anything such as because of federal and state preemption, or is it better stated the way it is?
So, Mr. Chair, the language that you just stated, I certainly is accurate, and I think more fully captures the limitation placed on towns.
All right. So I would then ask that we add the words because of federal and state preemption to that last sentence under noise regulation review. Thank you. Anybody else have any changes that they want to make to the minutes? If not, I will move that we adopt the minutes as amended. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, so those minutes are adopted. Thank you. All right. Next item would be the treasurer's report and payment of the bills. Marcia.
Good evening. In the month of March, the township recorded $52,352.54 worth of revenues. $26,230 came from building permits. $500 came from a well advisory. $120 from a right-of-way permit, and the remainder was interest. During the month of March, the township paid out $124,414.10 worth of disbursements, $9,775 for payroll, $45,105 for Bayport Fire, Q1, $7,600 for Bolton Mink Engineering, $11,527 for Miller for snow and ice removal, $22,295 for building inspections, $8,190 for tennis, recycling, and $6,912 for Washington County snow and ice, bringing the total current assets to $5,533,551.54. The next CD that is going to mature will not mature until June 6th, and it's Lake Elmo.
And it's what?
It's from Lake Elmo Bank.
Oh, okay.
So do you guys have any questions?
You know, that a CD is maturing?
Not until June.
Okay.
Just giving you a heads up.
All right, thank you. I will move that we accept the treasurer's report and approve payment of the bills.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, we'll need the roll call.
Chairman Moosberger,
Aye.
Supervisor Evans,
Aye.
Supervisor Dana.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the Planning Commission report. Dell. I see you brought a backup too. That's good.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Evening.
Planning Commission met March 19th, and we discussed a few things. And one of them is an item on the agenda tonight, item 5, Tyler Folsom. And I guess I'll reserve my comments on that until that comes up. And we had also at our December meeting discussed the St. Croix Montessori proposal to expand, and I'll save my comments on that till later. And then we discussed the transition that we're going to have, ongoing transition to administrative support and how we handle business that comes before the planning commission, vis-a-vis the board, you know, who handles what, when, et cetera, and so forth. And so we're going to go through a certain amount of teething pain, I guess, that would be safe to say. And then also learning where our stuff is on the town drive. So we're getting used to that. And then one other thing that we had come up, and that is that we had a resignation. Mark Vadava resigned from the Planning Commission as of last meeting. And so we have a vacancy. His term was going to be ending at the end of this year, as is mine, for that matter. Both of us, our 3-year terms would be ending at the end of December. So I, being the vice chairman, am the interim chairman. I emphasize that, interim, not permanent, okay? Not permanent, interim.
So noted.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Anyway, so with that in mind, I want to have the town make notice on the website that there is an opening on the planning commission to fill the vacancy of the remainder of the 3-year term that will actually end on December 31st. Potential for reappointment exists, of course, assuming they like the 5 or 7 months that they have a chance on getting along with the rest of the planning commission. We're a nice bunch of people. So anyway,
That's true.
and I want to note, I guess I might as well go through this right now for the sake of the live stream, is that the Planning Commission is a volunteer advisory board that reviews land use applications, zoning and subdivision proposals, and provides recommendations to the Township Board of Supervisors. Members help guide the growth and development of the township in accordance with local ordinances and the comprehensive plan. Qualifications: the commission meets monthly and for occasional workshops when we get busy on some subject that requires more intense attention. The ability to contribute to a multidisciplinary team is necessary. Relevant background fields such as planning, engineering, architecture, construction, etc., and/or volunteer experience can be advantageous but are not required. If you have a yen to do this and have an interest, go ahead, throw your hat in the ring. You don't have to be an engineer or an architect, but you must be a West Lakeland resident. So I suggest that we ask people to submit their resumes in time for the Planning Commission to review them at our May 21st meeting, if that would seem to be a sensible thing or not. That would be, if we asked for them a week ahead, that would be May 14th.
Yeah, I mean, my inclination is to try to have this open for a substantial enough period of time where interested
Yeah.
people can become aware of it and so forth. And putting it on the website is a good idea, I think. I wonder, do we have any kind of a newsletter thing coming out that where the timing would be good to put that into a newsletter, or are we not planning one in that kind of a time frame, so we can't really publicize it in that fashion?
I wasn't planning on one till May or June, but
Okay.
I could bump it up if you
I
directed
mean,
me to.
if we want to push it off until review at our June meeting, you know, we could do that as well. And that date of that meeting is June 18th is our meeting, so we would want the resumes in by June 11th. So we would have them a week ahead of time. How's that sound?
You know, that sounds good to me. I realize obviously working without that extra member for that length of time is a disadvantage. But on the other hand, I like the idea of the kind of the openness and the transparency of having it, you know, having this thing open for a long enough period of time where people can be aware of it, and you know, you get a wider palette of applicants to choose from and so forth. I think that's advantageous. You'll be probably working with this person for a long, long time to come. So I think care in making that selection is probably time well spent. I would think that would be my suggestion.
People don't apply until the last minute anyway, though.
Yeah.
I think a month is adequate if you want it. I defer to the planning commission if you want to start
Well, sure.
earlier. And it's only a 7-month term. So if it's terrible, then
Yeah.
we don't have to reappoint them.
So that's fine. Yeah, we can. Planning commission can, you know, tell us how much time they need, I guess.
Well, shall we say, get the resumes in by May 14th? That's a month from now. And if we don't see any, we can extend it a month. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll put it on the website. We probably won't have time to do a newsletter with it, but that's okay. The website will be adequate.
And if, you know, if word gets around, if you know somebody that you think might do a good job, put a bug in their ear. I've drawn it to the attention of one person already, so we'll see.
All right.
Other than that, I don't have anything to report on, and I guess we'll wait and see what comes out of tonight's meeting too. But we meet actually this coming Thursday. There are 2 months in the year usually that the timing works out that we end up on the same week as the board.
Sure.
We're the third Thursday, but the board is, what, the second Monday?
Yeah.
So it just works out that way this month. So this coming Thursday, in that room or out here, one or the other, depends on what a big crowd we get. So if we're really popular, you know, we'll have it out here.
All right, Del. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay. All right. So the next item on our agenda is to hear from our auditors regarding our annual township audit. If they're
Mr. Chair, he is on his way from a presentation in Taylor's Falls.
okay.
So thinks he'll be here between 7:15 and 7:30.
All right. So we'll move on.
Sounds good.
And we'll pick that up when he comes. Okay. Okay, so the next item then would be Tyler Folsom requesting approval for an accessory structure closer to the right-of-way than the residence. And this is not the public hearing phase, but this is kind of, I think, a informational Q&A type phase for this. Sure, please do, yeah. Please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and make your presentation.
I will move that. Tyler Folsom, 14515 28th Street North, West Lakeland Township. The building is in the front of the property, in front of the main structure, primarily due to geographic constraints and the location of the home. If you take a look at the map, you will, I don't know what page exactly that is, but there is a G3. So if you go down 2 more pages, you'll be able to see the location constraints. Our house is on the very back edge of our property. There is a ravine directly to the right of it, which makes it very difficult to access the back of the property. So the only real location is in the front. I have a drain field directly in front of the house, so we kind of positioned the structure to be as far, as close to the house as we can, as far away from the right of way, but kind of in that sweet spot. As you can see, we're 162 feet off the street, 107 feet from the east property line, and 77 feet from the west property line. So kind of right smack dab in the middle. We are in an HOA, so my size restrictions are already there. We cannot be larger than 1,000 square feet in our HOA. I did get approval from the HOA based off of the design. I did my best to get a picture of our house and what the building is going to look like. It's going to be color matched with the same siding. The square footage will be 1,000, so it'll be 28 feet wide by 35 feet long. Concrete slab. What additional information do you guys want me to share? I can keep going on. I've been working on this for a while, so.
What's the height? It's a little taller than, is it 10 feet maybe?
I did 14-foot sidewalls.
14 foot.
Are there restrictions on
I don't
height?
know.
I wasn't aware of any.
It can't be taller than 36 feet or something.
Oh, yeah, my house is
And single
much taller
story.
than that. Yeah.
Okay.
So the purpose was to be able to fit structures in. So in our HOA, we can technically not park any vehicles outside of a structure. And so, I've been moving my boat around for years. And so that is the purpose of the tall garage.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't. I think it probably conforms to, as far as I can tell, it conforms to the requirements of the ordinance. Especially since you say it's going to be the same materials and color and everything as the
Yep.
house. Yeah.
Yep, color matched. I'll have it painted. It won't go up the same color. It'll be primed, but I will have someone come in and paint it quickly thereafter its completion.
Whoops. Okay. Yeah. I don't really have any questions or concerns.
No.
Anybody else? No. Got anything? Okay.
The one thing I did forget to do, and I apologize, Carrie, because I told you guys I was going to do this. The well location. You can see it. All right, good. This picture is much better than what they printed out to be. So the well location is in the back of the property, and our septic, that is the tank and the drain field. Just for clarity, runs north from there, ending well before the garage. But I did want to point that out because I know that was highlighted in the requests, and that was something I'd forgotten about.
So I'm not sure where we are, but you're saying that the drain field and the well are to the south of the proposed structure?
I'll show you the map. Yes, on the south, correct.
Okay.
Well is on this one. It's not showing up as well. It's really good on that picture. Well is here, septic is here, drain field runs.
Oh,
About right
okay.
there.
Okay. Right. Drain field's kind of on the edge of the ravine then.
Yeah, right in it. Been trying to figure out exactly where it goes, and it does kind of look like it almost runs into the ravine, which is overgrown quite a bit. So it was flat, probably
Naturally,
At one
everything's greener over the drain field. That's the way it is.
point. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Any other questions?
How thick is the forest or, shrubbery between your neighbors? And
You're talking on the south part of the property
yeah,
line?
between your pool and, is it?
It's
big able to
quite
see it?
it's quite a bit. It's thick.
Yeah.
I plan on Carl and I are gonna have a beer and discuss this once everything goes through here. So yeah, right. Yes, I want to get to them before they get invited for next month.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay, and we should also, if you're finished, we should
Yep.
hear from the planning commission. I
Yep.
assume you looked at this, right, Del? Okay.
This plan was presented to the Planning Commission at our last meeting, and he did a very detailed job and covered all the bases, and considering the constraints that his existing lot has and so forth, he did a good job in trying to accommodate those, and we recommended approval of this application by the board, and it was passed unanimously by the Planning Commission.
All right. It's the only accessory structure on the property, correct? It will be. Okay. And how many acres is the property? Okay. Okay. Gosh, thank you.
And,
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think I've seen a house farther back in the lot than his.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's at the very back of the lot, so.
And I don't know what the setback used to be, but, nothing to do about it now. But it's pretty far back in the corner. And we seem to have quite a few lots like that in the township where somebody saw the trees and they saw the hill and they said, well, we'll put a house back here, but they didn't stop to think about where they're gonna put the shed in 5 years.
Yeah.
So this was one of them, so. But he did a good job on accommodating the lot and its restrictions.
All right, thank you, Del. Any questions by anybody?
No, so you said it's gonna match the same paint as your house?
Correct. Same material as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, is that on the plan? Like it, and is it noted? I don't think it's noted to match house, but it's more for the board. We don't have like a good system in the application. Like tell us how you're matching, or a lot of it's kind of, it's gonna match the house. Okay, great. But from just a recording standpoint, I don't, maybe it's something we could think about in the future. We believe you. It's just, this is a new process for us.
The one thing that the planning commission suggested was to take a picture of my home and include it in the plan.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered
Yeah.
the question, but that
We've
was,
run into this a few times where
Yeah,
it's
that was the
like, we
suggestion.
do the aerial and then, so maybe not today, but in the future we could think about.
Well, the other thing, I suppose that concern could be cured with this one too, by just, we're going to have a public hearing on this, right? We're going to have to
Right.
set that. And maybe before the public hearing, you could prepare some kind of another exhibit, like a letter or something, or a memo to us, just saying, the exterior of the house is hardy board or whatever, and this-
Blue or whatever, yeah.
teal, whatever it is, and so will this building be, or something like that, to specify what the materials are and the trim and everything. That way, we've got a nice record of it, and we can just say it's approved, subject to compliance with, these
Yeah.
specifications.
You can just do markup too. Maybe it's noted, but I didn't see it. But it's just something to think about.
it would be similar to the explanation of, why that it needs to be in front.
Sure.
saying To state the color match.
Yeah, and the, material match and the color match, what is the material, what will the color, state how you're gonna match it, the fact that it is the same material, et cetera. And that'll really make it nice and clear so that when we approve it, that'll all be built in, baked in, you might say, to our approval.
You could just mark up the plans where it says fiber cement lap siding. You could just put a note on there saying painted same color as the house. That's,
And maybe,
I can make it so what I did is I tried to put a whole email packet together.
sure.
Do you want me to print out copies of it? Gary?
we could also just note it in the approval too.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think because what you've provided is sufficient, except for that minor note.
Yep.
But if you can send that email, that'd be
I'll redo
wonderful.
the packet. You got it.
Okay. That sounds good. So I will move that we set this on for a public hearing with appropriate notice and so forth to go out at our next board meeting.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anything from you, Carrie? Is that timing okay and all that?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, so we'll set that on for a public hearing at our next meeting, and What's the date on that, Carrie? June, no, May something,
May 13th.
May 13.
No, May 11th, sorry.
May 11, correction.
May 11th.
And my wife will be in my place on that one. I am gonna be out of town, but she'll be. That's okay.
Totally fine.
That's fine. Yep. Thank you. Good luck with the building. Okay, next item is the St. Croix Montessori School requesting a CUP amendment and variance. And somebody's here to talk about that, I assume. Okay, well, so then you can all, if you wish, step up to the podium and explain the request and you know, make a pitch. Okay, sure, please do, yeah, thank you.
I'm Valerie Olson. I'm the head of school at St. Croix Montessori. This is my 9th year in that role. Since I've been the head of school, we've seen a lot of growth in our school and in our community. When I started 9 years ago, we had 78 students. This year we have 164. We are growing our elementary programs. We've expanded our school, and we are ready in the fall to launch a junior high. And we want to do this thoughtfully and build it in what we call in Montessori an environment, a school building that's just for these early adolescents. We have in mind to keep our community small. We want to have no more than 25 students in this program, and they are 7th and 8th graders. And we have 7 students already ready to start our program in the fall. We are going to start in the farmhouse, and we're hoping that we can undergo this next big project that I'd like Jake to talk about a little bit and represent us.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn.
So they're looking to add a 3,500 square foot building that would house the junior high program.
You're Jake Novak?
I'm Jake
Okay.
Novak, yeah. So I helped facilitate the application and everything that you see in front of you.
Okay,
But obviously we had to apply for the CUP and the variance to allow for this building to be on the property.
all right, you know, yeah, so I don't know what all to ask about. I mean, I know that a while back, you folks were here with a CUP amendment, I think, and it had to do with parking, and there was a lot of talk about traffic and parking and so forth. And at the time, as I recall, I thought the idea was that you couldn't use an access off of the frontage road, but that is the access that you are proposing to use for this. And I'm just,
It already exists. I mean, there's already a driveway there.
yeah,
And yeah, Valerie can maybe
there's that.
speak to that.
The addition that we put on was on the actual school building, and the frontage road access is at a completely different location for our families. And in order to have that frontage road have worked at the time, we would have had to build a road right across our entire farm property in order to get the children to the school. This junior high is going to use the farmhouse access that we already have established that's off the frontage road. These students will not get dropped off at the main building.
and you're not providing for parking at this facility.
No, it's a drop off.
Okay, and so will staff and stuff, will they have to kind of walk, I don't know, from another parking lot someplace?
No,
or-
there are currently 4 spots at our farm property right by the farm building, so they would just walk over to the building. It's not very
So
far.
there is some parking, limited
Yes,
parking provided for
Limited
here.
parking,
Okay.
enough for the staff. And for a parent if they needed to park.
Any other questions anybody has for the applicant?
So I do on the cup, so the cup would cover the entire property, is it like a little over 17
CUP?
acres?
Well, that was another thing that we were trying to clarify because in the past it was 2 different parcels, but it has been merged. And so it seems like if there's going to be a CUP, it would govern the entire property rather than what used to be called parcel A and parcel B.
So beyond this, and this is a separate structure, it's going in place of where the barn and the silo is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
And so is there anything else in there? Did I see was there a small outdoor learning, like an amphitheater? or something?
Amphitheater?
Amphitheater. Beyond that, anything else, like there are some maybe
There's-
athletic
there-
fields, things like that, that might be in the future?
Those are, the fields are up by the school, so
Okay.
no, and the junior high kids would use the fields up by the school.
I don't know if this is possible, but like, once the cup is in place for the CUP, for the entire property, then it pretty much leaves it to their discretion as far as putting in additional, I guess, facilities like an athletic field or something like that.
Well, I don't know. I suppose we could put conditions and, I mean, actually it raises much a question in my mind about, whether we need to have sort of any kind of engineering study or anything of, what kind of constraints should there be on future, development, or whether this development is appropriate or not. It's not a residence. It's an unusual development. Nothing wrong with it, but it probably requires a little bit more scrutiny than just, my uneducated,
Yeah.
look at it, But,
Yeah, because there are residences that are neighbors, and they are good neighbors, obviously. But the question is, if we move to approve this, does the cup need to the entire property, or is there, can we do this? Can we segment it out? As an example, so we have an opportunity to review these in the future. Versus giving a blanket CUP, which might be a precedent that we have other situations like this, or we don't have a lot.
let's get some weigh in from our attorney here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Board. So a conditional use permit doesn't just open-ended allow a use to expand. It is limited to what's authorized in the CUP. So if in the future there is a desire to add something that would constitute an expansion of the use, then typically the owner would have to come in and get an amendment to the CUP. So it's a way of maintaining some level of control over what happens on the property moving forward. Now, that said, there are times when a developer knows that they have another project coming in a year or something, and they may bundle it and say, I would like approval for both, please, so I don't have to come back in a year. So certainly if there's anything that's on the drawing board for approval, it is advantageous for everyone to talk about it all at the same time. But if there's ever a future project or an expansion, then it's just a matter of coming back through this process.
Okay.
One question I have is, I'm a little confused about what the situation was with regard to the parcel A, parcel B thing and the merger of them. So has there actually been, some kind of a, legal merging of these properties? And if so, what was the purpose of having separate parcels then and one single parcel now? And can you just kind of flesh that out a little bit for me, how that whole thing evolved?
Yeah, it was recommended by your board that we merge the parcels the last time we went for a CUP amendment when we put the addition onto the school, and so that's what we did, and you all approved that.
Okay. And it was two parcels previously just because of the
Yeah,
way the land was
because-
acquired or something?
Yes, because the way land, we acquired the farm property after we had the school property. So the Ames farm was acquired, I think, I can't remember the year, but yes, that's why.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant before we hear from the planning commission on this?
Did Kim review this?
She did.
We have like a report.
Do we have a report, Del, Kim?
Yes, she had a lengthy report. I'm not going to. I'm not gonna bore you with it. It wasn't a boring report, it's just that it was lengthy. She's, just to summarize it, as you just heard, it used to be two parcels, it's one parcel now. So under the ordinary use of a single-family estate lot, you can only have one principal building. And I don't recall how many acres they have there. 18, yeah, I knew it was bigger than 2.5. 18 acres and only one principal structure. It doesn't really work for an institution like a school or a church or some club maybe. And so the planner suggested that some discussions or changes be made to our ordinances to accommodate special groups or institutions that use a single-family estate lot. Because they do have unique needs compared with a regular residence. So we might look at that at some point if the board so desires. But otherwise, what we saw from them pertaining to the school, we were in support of it, and we recommended that the expansion be supported, and the current plans that they have, providing that the septic and water are good enough for the planned population of the buildings. And so we agreed with it, approved it.
Okay, and I, yeah, that raises, the point you just made about the septic and everything raises the question in my mind, there are other sort of, jurisdictions that probably have to look at this, like the county probably, they're the ones that kind of are in charge of deciding whether septic is adequate, so they probably have to look at this, I imagine. I don't know if that's true, but I'm thinking it might be true, that the county might have to look at it from the standpoint of, sanitation, wastewater treatment and so forth. And another entity that obviously would have to probably look at it because of the additional impervious surfaces would be the watershed district, right? So is all that stuff kind of underway and being done?
We've engaged with pretty much all of those entities.
Okay. Okay.
They're aware of the project. Just not back and forth. But yeah, they know about it.
Okay.
That'd be part of the permitting process, but they're not going to invest in that until there's an approved use. Otherwise, it's
Oh,
pointless.
yeah,
Like
sure.
the watershed doesn't need to look at it until we have okayed it.
Okay, yeah. Now, the idea behind a variance would be that there's something unique to the property, not of the property owner's making, that makes it, that causes the practical difficulty that they need relief from. So I'm just wondering, going down that path a little bit, is there a practical difficulty that prevents them from, you were mentioning, two principal structures, prevents them from just adding on to the other principal structure and having that be just a bigger building? Is there a reason that avenue can't be pursued? And is there a reason it should be, from the standpoint of, is it appropriate to issue a variance? And maybe I'll even bounce that question off of council a little bit, and see if I'm barking up the wrong tree here. But I mean, is that kind of a consideration here when we're looking at doing a variance as opposed to maybe an ordinance change or something down the road?
Sure, Mr. Chair and Board, I think that's a legitimate question, and certainly throw that out to the applicant to explain the rationale why they chose to have a standalone building rather than connected.
So I'll throw that out there.
No longer identifying as little children, they're trying to make their way, trying to put that in. And a lot of what they're going to be doing is working on the farm. And it's a big part of their education. So being down at the farm makes the most sense for that program.
That's what family and children board, future student, not at the school. We also were informed during our last UP that we should not exceed 200 students in the primary structure. So the junior high capacity then would be on the frontage road, not on Neal. So that would also be in compliance with the request.
Right, but I think you're talking about limiting overall enrollment to 200 also with this proposal. So you're not planning to exceed 200. You're going to stick with that limitation, yeah?
The existing building expansion's got landlocked a little bit too, to add on to that
The only other question I have, and again, maybe I'll direct this to council, would be, does the magnitude of this project and this campus, suggest or require that we have anybody else look at this besides, I mean, like engineering or something like that? I mean, is that necessary because of the roadways and the parking and all that kind of stuff? Or is that not something you would think a township would be concerned about with a request like this?
Yeah, so, Mr. Chair, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at it in detail yet. That comes next. But I frankly rely a fair amount on the planner to flag those sorts of things for us. Just based on their experience, if this is something that would, I'm not saying this is, but sometimes a proposed use will trip a need for a traffic study or something like that, where it's like, nope, we need to take a look at this. So certainly I can reach out to Kim and just see if any of those flags came up in this review. But if they did, I suspect she would have inserted them or included them as part of the report.
Okay, and I haven't actually seen the report yet, so I'm looking forward to reviewing that before our next meeting, but. Mhm. Okay. All right, has anybody else got further questions or comments? But my intention would be to move to set this on for a public hearing at our next meeting, but anybody else have anything they want to cover? Anything else further, Del, from the planning
Nope.
commission?
No, but in the future, can we get the planning report for this stuff?
Yeah, the
Like,
planners, yeah, right.
I don't know how,
Yeah, that would probably be helpful, yes, for us to get the planner's report before we even have this sort of an exchange, I suppose. But that's that's a housekeeping thing. We can worry about that later, but we'll take a look at that.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, Del. So I'm going to move that we set this on for a public hearing then at our May board meeting. Moved and seconded. Any discussion about that? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed, no. Okay, so we'll have a busier agenda then. Yeah. Thank you for coming. No. Yeah, no.
we're boring.
No, you've got work to do. Yeah. Thank you. All right. We're not quite ready yet for the auditor. Okay. So then we'll go on to reviewing agreements and resolutions and so forth. First one would be the 2026 ELC Lawn Services Agreement. And that's the folks that mow and fertilize our lawn here at the town hall. And we've got a proposal here that I think has been conformed to our contract requirements. Anybody got any, I don't know, Carrie or who would want to handle this? I mean, so have their rates kind of stayed the same pretty much, or is this pretty routine, or has anything changed from last year? This is the ELC Lawn Management Services contract. Is this pretty much just what we did last year?
Yeah, their rates have gone up. So back in 2025, their per mowing visit was 140. And now it's 145. Per second cut, if it's needed, was 75 last year, and it's,
Should I turn this off?
We'll alter them.
anyway, per second cut was $75 last year. Now it is 100. Fertilizer, herbicide stayed the same. Spring cleanup increased by $25. So last year it was 300. It's 325 this year. Fall
This
cleanup.
says 300,
Let's say 300. We agree.
Oh,
2026 rates. Unless there are two different versions of this. Are there two
But you've
different
got to
versions?
know that it's.
yeah, it was okay. Then that, I stand corrected then. Yes, so that stayed the same, and fall cleanup remained the same at 400.
Okay, so modest increase, not unexpected in this inflationary time.
Yeah, he has not increased his prices in probably 4 years.
Okay. All right, I would move that we accept and enter into this lawn management services agreement with what's the name of it? ELC, Lawn and Snow Management. Is there a second?
A second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? I just have one question. It's called lawn and snow. I just realized that, but they don't do our snow, do they? They just do our lawn.
They do that.
Okay.
Yeah, just our-
Any further discussion? If not, I'll probably take a roll call to enter into this.
Supervisor Dana,
Aye.
Supervisor Evans,
Aye.
Chairman Moosberger.
Aye. Okay. Execute that, send that along. What's the next thing? Next thing is the M&S Tree Services and Mowing Agreement. Now, so they submitted a proposal, and I don't know if that proposal contains any big changes from last year, but maybe you can, do you happen to know, Carrie, if you made a comparison at all?
So let's see, I think, yeah, so what changed from last year is, I'm just gonna pull it out here. Point it out here. Let's see here for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Take it.
Okay, so the general tree trimming rate, I believe last year was 125, and it increased to 135
Per hour?
per hour.
Okay.
And that, the bullet point 3, the hauling away of branches, logs, and brush, that would, this site, the Gertens in Denmark, increased their dumping fee by $100. It used to be 300, now it's 400.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a bit.
When is the, isn't the county gonna
Yeah.
have that, or is it just for residents, not for?
No, I think we're gonna be able to take advantage of it once they implement that. You're talking about that,
The truck driving school, yeah.
right. I don't know what the timeline is for the county to, has anybody heard what the timeline is for the county to develop that site? I think they're still moving ahead with it, though. It seems like I saw something recently.
Yeah.
That they were, I just don't know when it's gonna be, and that potentially could save us some money.
Yeah.
For sure, once they, implement that. Now, the thing of it is, I understand that Troy's advised us that because of the amount of money that gets spent every year in this, we should have at least 2 quotes, right?
Mr. Chair, if, there was some talk about this perhaps being extended to a 3-year contract. And so that raised for me the prospect, I frankly don't know what you spend on this in a year. But certainly 3 years, it starts to raise the prospect of exceeding the $25,000. So any contract proposal over 25, you have to get at least 2 quotes.
Okay. Now, fortuitously, we received a solicitation from another company called North Star Companies, who gave us a price list for 2026 right-of-way pricing. I don't know if that, I'm gonna seek your, comment, I guess, on whether that qualifies as a quote. I'll just hand that over. This is just a flyer that we got, and it sets forth some hourly rates for some of the same services that M&S provides, and they're in the same ballpark. In some cases, the hourly rate is a little cheaper at M&S, and in some cases, it's a little cheaper at this North Star. But I don't know if that qualifies, or if it doesn't, then let us know if we need to get some kind of a more formal, individualized quote then we'll just have to, we'll have to defer approval of this. to
Mr.
accommodate.
Chair, this sure looks like an offer to provide services at particular rates.
Okay,
So it strikes me at first blush as being a quote.
okay.
We have to get 2 or more?
Yeah, and this is one, and this is one.
2.
Right. So, the
So we have
comparisons,
to do that every year? If it's over, okay.
Well, unless you enter into a 3-year contract.
and what is the duration of this contract? Do you happen to know that, Carrie? The duration?
Currently, it's 1 year, but Matt Schmidt is open to extending that to 2 or 3 years.
Okay. But I see what it's, yeah, it does say March 31, 2027. And I mean, until we have a discussion with them, we're probably kind of stuck with this 1 year thing.
He would prefer 3 years.
He'd prefer 3. Okay, but I wonder, wonder if we have to come to a meeting of the minds with him about that before we impose a 3-year contract on him. You know what I mean? At this point, the only thing we got from him is the 1 year, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, I mean, you certainly as a board could approve a 3-year term, assuming he's okay with that. And then if not,
Assuming he accepts
then
it.
we default to a 1 year.
Okay. All right. So, okay, two steps here. Number one, the rates. What are the rates? So, let's see. M&S is talking about, let's see, he's got mechanical brush clearing. Oh yeah, he calls it forestry mulching. His price is $175 per hour. North Star Companies, they're located out of Rochester, Minnesota. Their address is 4338 Maple Street, Southeast Rochester, Minnesota. They sent us this solicitation. They charge $200 an hour for mechanical brush clearing. So at $175 an hour, M&S is cheaper per hour for the forestry mulching / mechanical brush clearing. The mowing, ditch mowing, North Star charges $100 an hour, and M&S charges, what did we say, 135. However, North Star's offer is to mow an 8-foot, cut, and M&S will do a 13.5-foot cut for that 135. So it's not quite apples and apples, but it's certainly in the same ballpark. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chair and board, just a quick note as well. When you're in the written quote realm between 25 and 175,000, you don't necessarily have to worry about getting the lowest amount. It's just whatever you as a board think provides the best service for you.
Okay.
So once you get into the bid process, sealed bids, it's a different world. That's the lowest responsible bidder, but that's not the case here.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for clearing that up. Appreciate that. And and I was going to comment on that too. It's what we get from M&S is a little wider cut, and moreover, M&S is obviously very familiar with our roadways and our practices and so forth. And I think that is a recommendation to use them, even assuming the prices are not wildly different, and I don't think they are wildly different. The other thing is, let's see, chemicals. What is chemicals again? Spot spraying is $125 an hour from North Star plus $10 per gallon of spray. M&S charges us $135 an hour, but they include the chemicals. So I think the services are comparable, the rates are comparable. If anything, M&S has the advantage of the wider cut, 13.5 feet versus 8 feet. And so on balance, I would, my recommendation would be that we continue with M&S. And further, I would recommend that we propose a 3-year contract with them, assuming they're willing to keep their rates at this level for 3 years, and that we would make that offer to M&S. So I'm going to move. Any second?
I'll second that with maybe an amendment that there needs to be some provision for, like, if the gas prices get crazy and we're holding them to this to this hourly rate. I don't want to put them in an out of business situation.
Right.
So we'll see, but was this proposed as a 3-year rate, Terry?
Yeah, Matt said his initial submission had an option of 1 year or 3 years. So
Okay, that's fine. And I
covered
agree with
both.
you, Phil. Don't underestimate the familiarity with especially the right of ways, because we have some residents that maintain their own ditches for pollinator gardens, and I would hate to see a new person just come and mow down those carefully curated native plantings. So,
And he's also very familiar with, I mean, in some places our right of way is only, maybe 6 feet off the roadway, and in some places it's, 20 feet off the roadway, or 30 feet. And he's familiar with all that too. So that's
yeah.
kind of nice.
And we have we have some longer term projects, like, some clearing that we should do if trees keep falling over. There's some nuances that it's not as simple as just mowing the side of the road.
Right. What kind of, protections do you think we should build in for fuel?
I would defer to what Matt would want, if anything. If he's fine with the rates, then that's fine.
Okay.
Well, there's a bit of a rate increase in there, so should we assume he's made that assumption already?
He's
That
baked
he's
it in
already
already.
baked it in?
Yeah.
Especially if he's going for 3 years. you think hopefully he's thought that
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and present this to him as a 3-year contract, and we're willing to sign it if he is, and then we'll just and if for some reason he isn't, then we'll have to come back next month and talk about it again.
through. Yeah,
Does that seem okay?
it's nominal differences and it kind of locks us in for 3 years, so there's some stability for us.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If there's no further discussion, we will take a roll call, I guess, to approve execution of this thing.
Supervisor Evans,
Aye.
Supervisor Dana,
Aye.
Chairman Moosberger.
Aye. Okay. I'll bring this to Matt. See if we got a deal. Okay. What's next? Next thing would be the MREP. And let's see what we're gonna do with that. And so, just to kind of recap on that, we used to have to do this because we were an MS4 obligated to comply with all the MS4 requirements. We're no longer obligated to do that. Therefore, this is no longer mandatory for us. They appeared last month to make a pitch for continuing it anyway. And I think we asked council to tell us what our options were. I think we may or may not have a contract that goes through 2027, but I think they've verbally indicated that they'd let us out of it, but I defer to you now to tell us what we can actually do.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair and Board, before that meeting was over, shortly thereafter, I got requests or statements from both them and town staff saying, no need to look at it. So I didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. So I guess maybe the decision is that we have to make is, do we want to continue that, that relationship, which is kind of nominal cost, but it does cost us something, or do we want to terminate that to the extent that they'll let us out of it, I guess, without holding us to doing it through 2027. I open it up for anybody's thoughts initially. Anybody got any thoughts? Do you know what this is, John?
I know it has to do with watershed.
It's kind of
It's more of an educational.
educational,
plan, right?
precisely.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we ascertained and established that residents can avail themselves of the educational information.
Yeah, there's workshops and things like that.
Yeah, whether we are a participant or not.
Okay.
We are currently the only township, as I understand it, that is a participant. All the other participants are watershed districts and maybe like cities and counties and stuff like that. But we were doing it because we were required to because of our size. That made us an MS4 community, and we had to do it. we no longer have to do it. So the question is, do we want to voluntarily participate in that?
What is the cost?
$950 a year. We have a contract through 2027, and I don't think it's their fault that we got out of MS4, and we're already saving
Right.
25 grand a year from the WSB. So I would say I'd be fine not terminating the contract early, but when the contract's up, if we're not recognizing any value, we can reconsider that
Okay.
at the time. I think we underutilize, I mean, I think they offer things that we don't use because we were only using them for the educational component of the MS4.
Requirement, yeah. I'm fine with that. Doesn't require any action on our part, subject
Okay.
to whatever you think, John.
Well, so then that would be we would review this again in 2027? Is that
Correct.
what we're saying?
Correct.
I would agree with that.
Okay, we'll,
Yeah.
we'll put a little reminder in our calendar to
Yeah, yeah, put it out there.
look at this in 2027. All right,
So, Mr. Chair?
yes.
So just quickly, to go back to the email that we received from Ms. Hong, or the town did. Thanks for putting me on the agenda. I checked in with our district manager this morning about the contract. He said that if your board wants to vote to leave, you can do so and simply send a written notification to our office. We don't want the township to spend money on legal fees debating the language of the termination clause.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks. So
So they saved us money already.
Yeah, they saved us money, but yeah, they're saying we're not going to hold you to anything, and we're saying we'll just ride it out to
Yep.
2027, and we'll take a look at it then. Okay,
Okay.
okay, very good. Next item on the agenda is the elector resolutions, and I don't know that I have a copy of that in my packet, but do I? Youth services.
Right there,
This one?
next page.
Oh.
There, right.
Oh, okay. So this is a resolution authorizing funds for town celebration. Is that what you mean? I thought this was electors. Oh, the elector resolution. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's see. So the electors then authorized us to spend up to $2,500 for a community celebration in 2026 Township Night Out, and up to $600 for service recognition. And so I suppose, do we have to make a further approval of this, or has this already been approved by the electors and we don't have to take action, or what?
So, Mr. Chair?
Yep.
So it's not necessary for the board to approve the authorization. Essentially, the electors have authorized you to spend that, and then your individual decisions to expend those funds would obviously come through here. So in other words, you would approve a budget of X for, one of those things, or you'd approve something that would fall within the $2,500, for instance.
So, and then when it comes time to actually expend the funds, do we have to review that again? Or if we approve that now, then we, through our volunteer group, can go ahead and just expend that without any further action by the board?
So, Mr. Chair, actually what I was referring to is those subsequent actions would be where you're approving
That's,
the
okay, so we
expenditures.
don't take action today, but we do when the volunteer committee comes forward and says, we'd like to spend $500. on that."
Exactly, yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Okay. Very good. All right. Remember that, everybody. We've got $2,500 to spend on ice cream this summer. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is lengthy agenda item from Chad Isaacson, our engineer. I think, wait a minute, or should we?
Go back to the audit.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll do the, hang tight, Chad. Okay. Okay, we'll do the audit. Okay. Mhm.
Perfect.
That's ready, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. First off, introduce myself. My name is John Stachel. I'm a supervisor with Abdo, the township's CPA firm. I've been with the firm for about 5 years now. This is also my third year on the West Lakeland Township audits. Tonight, and I think it's my third year also doing the presentation too. So tonight I'll be presenting the 2025 financial statement audit for the township. I'd like also extend a thank you to Marcia, Carrie, and Jenny too for helping us get to this point. In this presentation, I'll be covering the audit opinion. So the opinion that Abdo gives to the township and the responsibility, the general fund results, and also other governmental fund results. And feel free to stop me at any point in this presentation with any questions. Digging into the audit results, we issued the township unmodified qualified opinion under GAAP, which is essentially because the township omits GASB 68, which is a pension liability, so that's not recorded in the financial statements. There's also one internal control finding. Abdo does perform testing on certain Minnesota legal compliance statutes that the state sets forth as requirements, and there was no findings this year in our testing of Minnesota legal compliance. For the fiscal year 2025 findings, this has been a finding for the past, these past 3 or 4 years, ever since I've been on the audits, which is the preparation of financial statements, internal control finding. We issue this finding to almost all clients, if not all clients of similar size. Basically, Abdo shouldn't be the preparer of the financial statements, but we understand that the township doesn't have the capacity to prepare their own. But like I mentioned before, this is a finding we issued just about to every client the same size. Continue to recommend the township to review their policies, to continue to adopt policies, policies that relate to claims and disbursements, who has authority to approve, review, pay, policies over cash handling, CD renewal, and policies over purchasing, such as obtaining quotes and bidding documentation. This is the general fund budget to actual. So you notice in the furthest left column are the final budget amounts for the year end 2025. The middle is the actual activity that occurred, and the furthest right being the variance. During 2025, the final budget called for no net change, no change at all in the fund balance, whereas actual activity actually increased fund balance by roughly $170,000. There was an overvariance in revenues, mainly due to investment earnings being more than anticipated, and also an overvariance in expenditures of about $61,000 due to professional services for building inspections being more than budgeted for. Overall, at the end of 2025, the general fund balance had increased by $170,000. Here are the general fund revenues by type, and we break them down by type for different revenue sources by property taxes, franchise taxes, license and permitting revenue, intergovernmental, so grants from the state, from the county, charges for services, investment earnings, miscellaneous, and also we compare them to the past 3 years. Biggest takeaway is, like I mentioned before, the investment earnings did increase significantly from 24 to 25, mainly due to this township holding more cash during 2025 for the bond proceeds. And then on the flip side, these are the general fund expenditures by type. We break them down by three different departments, then also again comparing them to the past 3 years. Departments being in general government, public safety, public works. Not much else to say here besides the expenditures have remained relatively consistent for the past 3 years. I have to go 2 slides over. I think that was included twice, sorry. Or one back, sorry. These are the other governmental funds, the special revenue and capital project fund balances. We just present the changes. Road and Bridge Fund at the end of 2025 did increase by $237,000 in their fund balance. The general capital projects increased by $692,000. And then also there's a new fund in 2025 related to the bond proceeds for the street improvement project. And that increase is due to all the bond proceeds being held in that fund. This is for the debt service fund. This is also a new fund for the township in 2025. It's the fund that's going to be held for the levy collections and subsequently for principal interest payments related to that bond. The graph below presents the principal interest payments for the next 10 years on that bond. Maturity date on that bond is also in 2040. I should also mention that it was issued for the 2025 street improvement project. These are the cash and investment balances by fund type. So we break it down by the allocation between the general fund, capital projects, and special revenue funds. From 24 to 25, you'll notice that the capital project funds cash balance increased significantly. And that's again due to the issuance of that 2025 bond. That was fast. This is everyone who worked on the audit in 2025, Brad Faltasek being the partner. I also will mention too that the township is required to have an audit by the state because of their population being over 2,500, and also revenues. I think it's 1.2 million to meet both those criteria. So, thought that might be important. Are there any questions? Sure, Mark does a good job answering them already.
I don't have any myself, but do you, John, you have any questions? Okay. We're okay. We passed. Though, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay,
You did.
that's good. That's the bottom line. Yes, that's the bottom line.
That should be no surprise, though. I hope not. So,
All right, John. Thank you very much for,
yeah,
for the
thanks for having me on
presentation.
tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for
So,
coming. Appreciate it.
All right, well, have a great night. Hopefully, you can get out of here before.
Thanks.
Chance of being bad. But
Yeah, before the tornado or whatever
yeah.
they got coming.
Okay, well, thank you.
This one?
Thank you. Here you go. Okay. Okay. So now, yeah, Chad. Chad, now you're going to tell us how we can spend some of this money. This is wonderful. Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Board. Thanks for having me. First topic on the agenda is the 30th Street Agreement with MAC and Baytown Township. In 2020, the township entered into a road agreement with MAC and Baytown for the relocation and reconstruction of 30th Street, largely related to the runway extension. Condition 3 of the agreement requires MAC to convey the permanent easement of right-of-way to West Lakeland and Baytown for the road that was relocated and reconstructed. And that description and easement is described in Exhibit C of that road agreement that was signed in 2020. And that was to be conveyed upon project completion. So the MAC representative reached out to the township earlier this year with that revised Exhibit C and has requested the town to sign the agreement that they agreed to sign back in 2020. Because such an amount of time has lapsed since the original agreement was presented to a different board with different staff, council and I felt it appropriate to bring it forward to this board to understand what they were signing, but we do ultimately recommend that you sign the agreement and accept the roadway easement for the town road of 30th Street.
So I've got a question. So the MAC is granting us an easement, a road easement for the new road that was created on their property. And so, but you're calling this an agreement, so it's not just a grant of an easement, but we're agreeing to something in return to the MAC. We're providing the MAC with an agreement to do or forbear from doing something, I guess, or whatever.
And maybe the legalities of how I'm describing it aren't accurate, but they're conveying a permanent easement of road right-of-way through this signed Exhibit C.
So, and maybe I'll direct this to council, but does our signing of this agreement just say we're accepting the grant of an easement, or does it are we promising to do something beyond that?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair and Board, the board in 2020 already entered into agreement. It was the idea of relocating the road to accommodate an extension of the runway.
Right.
And so everything's been agreed to. It's just, as was said, because of the passage of time, it took longer, I think, than folks anticipated for everything to be done and the easement to come back. You're just signing off on the easement accepting, which was part of the original agreement. So my thought was, I didn't want this to appear as just flying under the radar, because it has such a large amount of time has passed. This really is just you accepting that easement to support the roadway in its new location.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then I will move that we accept the granting of this easement to West Lakeland Township by the Metropolitan Airports Commission for the relocated 30th Street. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll just add that I think Baytown is doing the same thing because the MAC has also granted to Baytown a much smaller easement, I guess, smaller in terms of area, because they too were a party to this thing, and they have a little slice of land that's involved, right?
That's,
Just in those highlighted areas?
yeah, so Baytown does have interest in 30th Street per the terms of this agreement that was made for the, I believe the areas highlighted on the screen. And then secondarily, West Lakeland would be the recipient of the easement for the dash line that goes south. That's not specifically highlighted on this particular agreement or exhibit.
Any further discussion?
Is that gonna impact our 30th saga?
No, I mean, you know, our 30th saga, which I will get to in a minute,
Okay.
you know, talks about the common portions of 30th, the areas of 30th that constitute a town line road, the areas that straddle the two townships. That's
So
our,
this dip is.
this dip is
outside.
all ours.
Okay.
And I think we even agreed in this earlier agreement back in 2020 that it would be all ours, and it just definitely is. It's all ours to
Okay.
deal with, to maintain.
Okay.
All right.
Let me know if I've misstated any of that, but I think it's true.
Well, I think that the shared ownership interest for these two outside legs just becomes a part of that future discussion holistically of 30th Street as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right, any further discussion before we vote on this? All those in favor of entering into the agreement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, so we'll execute that. And let's see, what's next? Oh, you're gonna talk about the projects for this year.
Yes, yep, excellent. Thanks, Betsy. First on the agenda is the 2026 mill and overlay project. Hopefully a memo and a map may be in your packet to reference, but up on the screen, yep, that's the right map. Thank you. So in the township's approved pavement management plan, there's a recommendation of approximately 4 miles of road to receive an edge mill overlay in 2026. The roads that are represented in the map up on the screen in blue highlight the about 4 miles of roadway that recommendation is being made for. The estimated project cost in the pavement management plan for this project in total is it was estimated at $800,000. Requires plans and specifications to be prepared and have the project publicly bid at that amount of money. The edge mill and overlay generally consists of milling or scraping off a certain depth of existing pavement at the edge of the road into the roadway up to 8 feet, and then paving a new lift across the entire width of the roadway to kind of refresh and extend the life of that road and not let it deteriorate to a much more costly project. Usually with these types of projects don't include anything really outside of that edge of the road. That's why we mill off a little bit so we can match into what's out there and not have any restoration or scope creep. It's really just refreshing that upper layer of pavement. Drainage improvements are not a part of these types of projects, but a site review will be conducted just to verify that we're not overlooking a hazard or a failed pipe that we need to deal with. Otherwise, we're just coming back way too soon to deal with it. So we will do a field review and make some field judgments if something like that needs to happen and present that to the board when we come back if we are to move forward with this project or at least the final design. So the project schedule in the draft a task order or agreement has us presenting plans and specifications to the board at the May 11th meeting for review and authorization to go out to publicly bid the project. Bolton & Minks would provide these professional services to prepare the plans and specifications and see it through the bidding and presentation to the board. In the task order is identified for $24,600. That includes reviewing the existing conditions, seeing if there's any permitting requirements, developing the plans and specifications, and coordinating and receiving the public bids from contractors. $24,600. So I stand to question any questions that the board may have regarding this particular project, this authorization request, or just the project or procedure in general.
So at this point, what we're voting on is to authorize Bolton and Mink to, look at this so they can come back and make a recommendation at our May meeting on actually letting.
We would be coming back with developed plans and construction documents that can go to public bid. I would be presenting the findings of the field review with the final plans so that you could publicly bid the project and get actual costs to then consider award of the contract. So you'd be committing to the 24,600 now, receiving public bids and considering whether you're moving forward with construction, with the understanding that currently the estimate is about 800,000 for the total project.
So is part of that 24.8 going to be spent later on, when you're kind of overseeing the project and putting the final touches on it, or is it all going to be spent now between now and the May board meeting?
It would be spent between now and when we come back. So we would come back May 11th, looking to you to authorize posting advertising for bids. We'd receive public bids, and then we'd come back to the board to enter into a contract. So the 24,600 would carry us to that, coming back to you with a recommendation to enter into a construction contract.
Okay, so then there'll be additional engineering costs, so obviously after that, then we'll have to consider that at our May board meeting.
It would be considered at a later board meeting when we come back with the actual bids that we receive. So May 11th is just, can we take this developed plan and advertise it for publicly bidding the project? Then we'll receive bids and come back with a more holistic total project cost. But it's embedded in that 800,000 is kind of the.
Well, the 800K includes the projected engineering cost for that?
Yes.
Okay, and those are the numbers that that you had projected in the pavement management plan to begin with.
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions? Do you have a question?
That was
John?
going to be my question. Just answered it.
Okay.
Good question, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. So I suppose we are looking for a approval to proceed with that work, and so I will so move that we authorize Bolton and Mink to proceed with that. Question though: do we have to memorialize this in any special way if we approve it now, or are we just? Is it enough to just have a?
So, Mr. Chair, there is a, what do we call it, task order that reflects this, including that dollar amount.
That's been prepared.
Yes,
Oh,
and
okay.
I have reviewed it.
Okay, good. All right, so I will then move that we authorize Bolton and Mink to proceed with the work that they'll present to us at the May meeting.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? We'll need a roll call, I would think.
Supervisor Dana,
Aye.
Supervisor Evans,
Aye.
Chairman Moosberger.
Aye. Okay. Okay, very good. And the next item is pretty much the cousin of that one, and that's the microsurfacing project that's also called for in the pavement management plan for 2026.
That is correct. Moving right along, the 2026, or the pavement management plan recommends approximately 2.5 miles of roadway receive a microsurface in calendar year 2026. The estimated total project cost for these improvements that's identified in the plan is $130,000. The microsurfacing, the roads we're presenting to have this surface treatment done is in the exhibit highlighted on the screen in dark green, which I realize can be trickier to see, but includes the 4th, 6th Street Loop, 30th Street Bay, 10th Street Circle, and 8th Street Circle south of 8th Street North. And the microsurfacing is applied to newer pavements in this recommendation. And really it's kind of a thin layer that provides some structural strength to protect the upper layer of existing pavement and help that pavement last and perform until we have to come back for a mill and overlay, hopefully between year 20 and 25 of that roadway surface. So this application is targeted for roads that are about 7-ish years old, which are represented by the roads in green on the screen. In order to, with a total project cost of about $130,000, this work can be quoted. There are 2 contractors really that perform in this realm, so quoting this work is generally recommended to save on preparing a full-blown plan and specification. We can do a much more truncated version of that. The goal would be to present the quote package to the board at the May 11th meeting, and Bolton and Mink can perform preparation of the quote package, specification, plan sheet, estimated cost, and receive said quotes for a total of $6,400. That would take it through, it would include field review of the streets, it would review preparation of the specification quote document, make sure the attorney has a chance to review the contract because it'd be a different form of contract, and then receive quotes and present it for consideration of entering into a contract with somebody to perform the work.
All right, thanks. I'll move that we approve and authorize Bolton and Mink to prepare that quote package and do the engineering work necessary to prepare that.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Now, do you recommend the microsurfacing as a solution? Is that part of your,
Yes,
you're on board with that? Okay.
it's recommended as a pavement preservation method for this type of road at this age.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and that is something that, it's been in the pavement management plan, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of the new thinking that is superior to and a better substitute for seal coating roads.
So there's none like gravel stuff?
There's no P-rock that flies around, is there?
Yeah, it's a cleaner finish than the seal coating where the trap rock has a chance to shed. It's a more solid surface.
Is it more durable? Does it actually extend the life beyond what seal coating does, or what you would normally expect from that?
I would say that there's a couple of different methods of seal coating, and the previous specification, historically the town had applied it at a similar-ish interval, but perhaps twice to get it to the longevity before a mill and overlay. That was dialed back as stripping issues were identified with seal coating, and there was a theory that seal coating a road that had previously been seal coated was actually counterproductive to the lifespan of the road. So I don't know that we have a ton of roads in the township with a similar age with one set of seal coat to directly compare it to, but some pavement experts that work for MnDOT and have completed studies suggest that the microsurfacing, albeit a little bit more per square yard, performs better to enhance and elongate the life of that upper layer of pavement. So this is actually would be the first microsurfacing project in the township that we would be performing. But that's the theory behind why we're moving in that direction.
Any other discussion or questions?
No.
We'll need a roll call to approve this, I think.
Supervisor Dana,
Aye.
Supervisor Evans,
Aye.
Chairman Moosberger.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And then, let's see, oh yeah, the last thing is you approve more money.
You are expensive.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Board. Last item on my agenda is the 2025 street improvements. It's P request number 8 as submitted by OMG Midwest, Minnesota Paving and Materials. It's in the amount of $125,535.46. This amount of money is largely reducing the held retainage from 5% to 1.5% in accordance with the contract for the work that they've completed. The reason that we're holding 1.5% in the amount of $53,800.91 is they do have known corrective work to perform this spring in a couple of areas. And that is to protect the township's interest and potentially hire a contractor, as the general contractor, Minnesota Paving and Materials, is no longer operating in the state of Minnesota. So we've been in touch with their representative, and they're either going to have us hire a company to do the work and take it out of their retainage, or they'll retain a company on their own depending on pricing that we receive for the work. So the intent is that engineering, now that the freeze thaw cycle has ended, will be out reviewing the roads that were completed last year to make sure we are identifying the corrective items and then working through that behind the scenes with the contractor. But payment in this case reduces that retainage. It is recommended we're holding enough money for the known corrective items that are needed. Go ahead.
Well, so my question would be, so you've identified some items that need correction, but there's going to be a further review to identify whether there are further items that, once the frost is out of the ground, that manifest themselves. Is that right? So some we know about, and some will potentially discover when you review the work?
Yep. So some we know about, and we held 250% of the value of what we know about and what we kind of guessed at on our own. This also doesn't take away the contractor's responsibility for seeing the warranty period through. It's a 2-year warranty period where we do have a warranty bond to ensure that any warranty corrective items get completed at the end of that 2-year cycle. So we're further protected in the contract to make sure that the infrastructure gets corrected as and if needed in that period.
So, but I mean, would there be any value in waiting until we've done our late springtime inspection before we release the retainage, or not necessary?
We've kind of gone out and looked at it, and albeit there was still frost in the ground and didn't notice anything of significance, which is why this is forward. And then we do start to get into chasing unknowns and payment laws with contractors and retainages held. So I don't know that I'd recommend holding it any further than we have already. Not that the contractor is pushing or threatening, but in fairness to them.
All right, so you've made a recommendation, and I'll move that we release the funds that you specified, and I'll ask if we have a second. Have discussion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Are they going, do they have work left? Because they have a large amount of balance to finish on the pay application.
That's the other good point. So this settles up all quantities and work performed to date on the job.
But
So
so
they
we'll
have-
get a we'll get,
Those would be sums that we just won't have to expend.
Correct. So I've been tracking and working with the township on making sure I have all invoices accounted for work charged to the project, so I can present a better, more full picture of where we stand with the total project cost, but they are well under the contracted limit for unit price work that was performed. So right now, the $3,586,727.48 represents the anticipated final payment to the contractor below the $4,200,000 contract amount.
So we'll just have some additional funds for probably our capital improvement account, I would think.
Yeah, so the balance, just doing math between the two, largely should pay for the mill and overlay project performed this year, but we'll have to flush out how all that works financially before stating that with certainty.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
It never happens.
I know. Okay, so any further discussion before we vote on this? Hearing none, then we'll have a roll call.
Supervisor Evans,
Aye.
Supervisor Dana,
Aye.
Chairman Moosberger.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
right, so now, I guess, we're at old and new business. And so, I've got a little of each here. Old business, well, met with, Baytown last week, and, we haven't really made, much progress on our discussions about dividing, responsibility for 30th. Let's see. You can keep that. So I actually put in a call to Washington County this morning to talk about how we might proceed with the county. Haven't heard back yet, but that'll be the next step. But the other interesting thing is that we did receive a proposal from Baytown to contribute to the cost of Baytown's pothole patching on 30th Street. And we also have a proposal from RCM for pothole patching township wide. And I had them break out their 30th Street amount, and the deal that Baytown's offering us is actually cheaper than RCM. So I'm gonna propose that we take Baytown up on their offer. And basically, Baytown's offer is this: they're having Farner do the pothole patching from Oak Green to Stagecoach, and halfway between Oak Green and Stagecoach, they're each about a mile, is where 30th Street goes up into Baytown. So they're asking us to pay 25% of what Farner's total bill is, which I think is fair because 50% would be the town line road portion, and 25% means the south half of it, and we've been maintaining the south side of 30th for a long time, for years, because we don't have a better agreement of any kind. So anyway, that seems reasonable to me. And so I'm going to propose that we go ahead and take them up on that offer. It is a really cheap offer. I mean, it's amazingly cheap, and I think it might be kind of a lost leader on Farner's part. It'll be interesting to see what kind of work they do, and I plan to look at it carefully. Maybe even call on the expertise of our former road supervisor to go out there with me and take a look at it once they do the work, and see what kind of quality work they do. But in any event, so that's the first thing I'll do is I guess I'll just go ahead and make a motion that we go ahead and agree to pay $900 to Baytown to cover the 50 or the 25% of the pothole patching on that little stretch of 30th Street. I'll move that we do that. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have discussion?
What, so their total cost is what?
Their total
900?
cost is the 3,600,
For
correct?
2 miles?
3,600 for 2 miles, yep.
Versus 40?
Versus, I think, RCM said it was gonna be like 6,000 something to do that, to do, all of 30th, but 90% of the potholes are on that stretch between, Oak Green and, and the county line, so, or the township line. So, it's an amazingly cheaper price, really is. And then the second thing I'm going to talk about is that RCM has got a proposal for us to do all the potholes in the township for $42,000. But I'm not moving that yet because I got one motion on the floor at a time.
Okay.
But first of all, so we should probably cover are we gonna take up Baytown on their offer for the potholes between Oak Green and the township line?
Yes, but this is different math than when we wanted to do the road and project.
Totally.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
The equation does not scale. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
And I can
We'll
actually
do the
talk
whole
about that.
road for 25%. I mean,
Yeah. Right. They're not making that offer, but pretty nice, wouldn't it?
So in essence, they're going 50-50
On that
On the
piece
town
of
line.
joint responsibility
Right.
part of the road.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they're not on, well, that's another discussion.
But they're not on the town.
But not on the rest of the project where we repay.
Right.
Okay.
And
And I-
actually, I'll go back and talk more about that after we're done with this little discussion. I'm gonna flesh that out a little bit, what Baytown wants and what they're willing to do with the rest of the road.
So is there any concern about the quote from RCM to do all the pothole work?
I don't really,
If we exclude that?
oh, no, RCM's willing to exclude that.
Oh, they are, okay.
Yeah.
So they're aware of it.
They're aware of it, you know,
Yeah.
and they're saying, how can they, how can that be,
Sure.
all that kind of thing, but, yeah, so. But they've taken 30th out of their bid at this
Okay.
point, of their proposal. So, okay, so let's vote on whether we can spend $900 on the little stretch of it there, stretch of 30th. Unless there's further questions or discussion.
No, I think it's a good move because we're trying to get to doing the bigger project as soon as possible. So the less we can spend in the short term, the better.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess we don't really care if it holds up.
Yep.
We're trying to
Well,
wait
that's
to do
true.
the
That
project.
stretch is in need of,
I
yeah,
don't
that's
get it
that's
that
right.
way.
That's in need of replacement in the short term. Yeah. And frankly, we got the same thing going on. You know, the area that Chad talked about that we're going to do the edge mill and overlay, that's full of potholes. And so, but we're going to patch them because two reasons, I think. We don't want anybody, throwing their alignment off between now and when the contractor does the work. And also, I assume you want a good substrate for this mill and overlay. I don't know, Chad, if you want to comment on that, but I assume you'd want to patch those potholes just so there's a good base for the overlay.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we do want to make sure that there's a good base for the overlay. We'll look at it closely tomorrow when we drive the roads, but typically we'll want to do some full depth patching with what we call hot mix before we pave hot mix over it. So, if we're spray patching some of it for the time being to be safe, we still might want to cut that out and get some hot mix down as a part of the mill and overlay project. But we'll look at the severity tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion on this 30th Street pothole patching question? If not, I assume we'll need a roll call to approve the expenditure of those funds.
Supervisor Dana,
Aye.
Supervisor Evans,
Aye.
Chairman Musburger.
Aye. So then the next part of it is the potholes in the rest of the township. And so RCM reduced their quote from $48,785 to $42,072 to account for the fact that they're not going to do 30th. And so that's their proposal, $42,072, 48. And I'm gonna move that we approve entering into that contract, assuming it can be put into the format that we like our contracts in. And go ahead, counsel.
Mr. Chair, hearkening back to this discussion we had earlier, did the town receive 2 quotes for that?
No, we have not. What's the threshold? for that?
25,000.
Oh, 25,000. So I suppose we have to defer this then, which we can do because, I mean, the frost just went out. I suppose we can leave the potholes for another month. Is that what we should do, would you say?
Mr. Chair, yes.
Yep, okay. All right.
You want to
so-
get a quote from Barner at the same rate?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, we'll do that. We'll get a quote from Farner.
And Chad,
Okay.
is the spray patching still the recommended solution here?
I think that it's been working well for the township
Okay.
in the past, so.
Cool.
Okay, and then just to flesh out the discussion with Baytown. So the where we're at right now is that, we both agree. I mean, we had Chad do a study and determine, what's the halfway point where each township has the same portion of roadway. And that's at 30th Street Court, I believe, is the halfway point. And I think it's a little, 30th Street Court is maybe just a little bit west of the lineal feet of roadway, but it's a little bit east of the square yards of pavement, if I remember correctly. So it's basically the halfway point. It's the best, point you can pick out, unless you want to get real technical and say, 3.7 feet west of the center line, or something. It's a pretty good halfway point. And I think everybody agrees on that. The disagreement comes in the fact that Baytown believes that because the western part of 30th Street will not need to be reclaimed as soon as the eastern part will need to be reclaimed, that they have a cash flow issue and that they need to be paid some money because they're going to have to repair their part of it sooner than we are. And they talk about the time value of money and the idea that we would have investment income, for 10 or 15 years on whatever the cost is, $750,000 or whatever it ends up being. And that therefore we should pay them, I think they're saying $350,000 to take, to have this split. Our engineering study that we did acknowledges that there's about $200,000 more over a 15-year time horizon. So we offered to pay Baytown $100,000 to equalize that $200,000 difference in cost over a 15-year time horizon. But again, Baytown's saying, yeah, but you've got all these years of interest income and investment income. And my response is, we don't have investment income and interest income. We're a municipality. We levy and spend on roads more or less contemporaneously, and not, we don't have a sovereign wealth fund. We don't really have, 10 or 15 years of investment income that's going to pile up in the bank, because we're a pass-through entity, essentially, when it comes to our funding. So that notion is illusory. It's not a realistic, analysis of the situation. My response. So that's kind of where we lock horns. And so my next hope is that we'll get the statute says that we get the county to decide that for us. And statute says when the townships can't agree on the division of the roadway, the county will make that determination. And so that's kind of my next move is to ask the county to do that. And council, I'll let you weigh in if you think that you have some insights to this, but my plan is just to talk to the public works folks and get them started on taking a look at this for us.
So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So is that where it goes? It goes to Public Works, or how does the review process work?
Well, I don't know. The statute doesn't really say exactly how the review process works. It just says the county, I think it says the county board will decide.
Correct.
But the county board's going to rely on some input from the public works folks, I think, so.
Correct. So, Mr. Chair, unless time is of particular urgency here, I would suggest you have those conversations before it's formally submitted for a decision, because, this is a formal matter that goes to the county board for decision, as you mentioned. And as I believe I've mentioned in the past, counties traditionally do not like being put in this position. So hopefully some discussion can be had, but then I'd recommend that there be a formal vote of this board to submit it for resolution.
Sure.
Now, you certainly could do that tonight if you want, but it may be good to lay a little bit of groundwork with the county and have that conversation before all of a sudden this gets dumped on their lap.
Yeah, I that's very good advice. I appreciate that, and I think that's the way we should proceed too. Have some discussions with the county, and move at that pace. We don't have to make that decision tonight. I'm just sort of letting folks know this is kind of the direction I think we're going.
What section were we mostly engineered with? Isn't that east of?
Well, yeah, we did the engineering on that eastern part,
Okay.
east between Oak Green and the township line.
Why don't we offer to take that part, since we already have
Well-
engineering, and we'll take their 350 too.
Yeah, right. Actually, they actually made that proposal. Why don't we take the why doesn't West Lakeland take the eastern part and they take the western part? And that's a possibility, I suppose. And who knows, the county might come up with that one too. But the problem with that is that they're not contiguous
I know,
pieces of
I see
roadway.
that. It's not ideal, but
And consequently, when you're going to be doing a big job, you know, you kind of want a bigger chunk of roadway to have economies of scale and so forth, and you know, hopefully a better bid price and that sort of thing.
well, can we just take care of the whole road forever and they just pay 50% of
Yeah.
the cost?
Well,
Because then we'd be in control of when it gets done for our residents.
sure, you know, and that is, I mean, if we could get them to agree to that, that'd be fine. But the problem with the divvying it up 50-50, as we discovered, is that the two townships may not agree on the sort of level of, you know, engineering that should go into it, or the
Right,
or the
right. The scope.
the
I understand.
fanciness of the road and so forth, and or who they pick, you know, and all this. I mean, there's just so much room for disagreement when you're getting these two townships to try to decide this is exactly how we're going to deal with this mile of road. You know, we discovered that doesn't work too well. Although it's going to work great for the potholes, that's true. But aside from that, I'm skeptical that, you know.
Yeah, from the
we can make
residents'
that work.
perspective, they would appreciate it if we took control of the eastern portion, I think.
But yeah, but
You
it's
know.
not as efficient.
Well,
However,
I
we're,
get the efficiency part, but they saw us working on the west portion of that.
yeah. But these roads are so different. Like, we're not,
Yeah.
like, they're not on the same, they're not in the same segments. Would we be ever doing a continuous road project in those? 'Cause they're so, the ages of this 30th is so different.
You've got like 3 segments to 30th, I think.
Yeah.
You've got the brand new part that's by the airport. Then you got this intermediate age chunk of it that's from Neal to Oak Green. And then you've got the aged part that's from Oak Green to Stagecoach. And I think maybe, is your question, you know, Rachel, is there any way we would just do it all at once?
No, I think, well, the way we've been treating some of the neighborhood projects is, you know, we'll do one section, but I can see how the east section and part of the west of Oak Green section are probably in the same era.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just like our pavement management plan, it's kind of, it's broken up pretty well.
Right, and you know, yeah, I mean, and that's because this robotics analysis that was done is kind of grading these various sections of road according to what condition they're in, and but I don't think 30th is chopped up into real small pieces, is it?
Okay.
By
I don't recall.
your assessment, I'll let you comment.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Right now, the section from Oak Green to the east town limits is, you know, recommended to be reclaimed today. Oak Green to Neal. The plan pushes it out a little bit further to get it. Its pavement is not as bad as the section to the east. But in the LRIP application, we were proposing to do that. You know, breaking it out becomes how old is the pavement? How much longer can it last? How much funding do we have? How much are we trying to do today that might need it more? That's not to completely write it off from being not too far down the pipeline of needing to get taken care of, but hopefully that helps.
So so this section is treated, it has a different pavement management plan, the west versus this one.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Oak Green is a dividing line.
Yeah, well, it's not ideal, but in the interest of resolution, if we want to flip it, we'll take east of Oak Green and they can give us 200,000, see if they'll take our deal
Yeah.
in reverse, or
Yeah.
I
Or
don't,
would there be an opportunity for them to have the portion that turns up into Baytown bid out along with that portion that we're talking about that goes east of Oak Green?
no, yeah, that would,
As one project.
Hmm.
And it might be different applications, you know, for one versus the other, but I don't know, maybe there's opportunity to get a good bid, which would help them in the long run, because they're gonna struggle on their own to get that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work. You'd probably, if you know,
That's, to me, that would be where the major cost is doing from Oak Green all the way to Stagecoach. So what would that look like? And
but we only
would that
care
be
about,
something to be attractive to them?
let's see, we've done the engineering from Oak Green to the town line. Would we, under your suggestion, then have them hire their engineer to do the engineering on their portion of it? And then we would somehow try to merge those into one bid? It sounds like
I think
that's,
We should just figure out a split and go our separate ways.
that's what I think.
I like the creative thinking, but we might be getting into some, you might be creating more work and adding more potential for discrepancies in the documents, trying to combine two different things into one construction contract. Not to say that it can't be done, it's just, I think if that were the direction of the board, talking to their engineer, we could figure something out amicably to make a
Yeah.
package work, but I have to give that some thought.
Would disregarding their own problems with their own 30th, would we take on east of 30th, that road that's already half engineered as is today, and move on with our lives in the interest of resolution, even if time value of money, even if it's in worse condition?
So you're asking, should we just flip the east, east and west, responsibilities and just,
And just
Go
fix
from
the
there.
road, and so we have,
Yeah.
maybe, probably couldn't do it this
we
season,
could,
but
we could. Now, the only thing to think about there though is, are we cool with being saddled with, see how this works. We've got the loop under the airport. Baytown would have the stretch from that loop to, Manning.
Neil to
And Baytown would have the stretch from Neal to,
30th.
30th Street Court, yeah. And then we would have from 30th Street Court east to the town line, and then they would have 30th Street from there to Stagecoach. And do we think that that is a good long-term solution to?
no,
But
the
no,
paint,
it's
the
not a
total
long-term
paint.
No, we're
But
thinking-
it is a solution.
It's,
Okay.
it's
So-
the urgency of getting that portion of the road east of Oak Green addressed.
So if we took all of east of Oak Green, even though it's technically more linear, more area, and then, is that because the dividing lines,
The dividing line is 30th Street Court.
Where is that?
Which
Where
is-
30th Street Court is just east of 30th Street Bay.
okay,
Do you know where that is? No. It's a little ways east of.
But it's all
it's-
east of Oak Green, right? Is that,
It's west of Oak Green.
oh, it is west of Oak.
what,
The dividing line is west of Oak Green,
All right,
and it's, let's see where here.
we're officially brainstorming.
Okay, there's
can we
a,
just take everything west of Oak Green? Yes, it's more, but it's in better shape, and then it's not that much more, and then we're done?
we should, I suppose they'd be fine with that.
Well, I don't know about
I
that.
imagine they would, because we'd have more miles, and why wouldn't you want that
Well,
if
logic
you're
has it.
Baytown?
Yeah. I mean, how long over 20 years is this section gonna cost us? Because we're taking on,
Probably I'm guessing per mile, a reclaim costs us whatever a reclaim costs us. It's the same kind of roadway, but Chad, you can illuminate that if you want, but I mean, per mile, a reclaim is just gonna cost X. And the reclaim does have to come sooner on the eastern part, a little bit sooner, but not all that much sooner. I mean, we're gonna have to reclaim, somebody's gonna have to reclaim the road, west of Oak Green in the
okay.
Yep.
reasonably short time frame.
Okay.
Well, it's not fair to the residents of either township to have the, deteriorating road that's already failed for another season because 8 people can't come to a solution.
Agreed, which is why I think we should get this resolved as soon as we can. And I think at this point, well, it's up to the county to do, but there's no reason we couldn't make these proposals while we're, after we've engaged the county, I don't suppose, I suppose we could keep
I
Trying different-
defer to council's recommendation on doing, what's most likely. Well, yeah, do you think we can convince them? I mean, if we bring you and have a joint meeting and sit everyone down and I don't know, like
Convince them of what?
just to resolve this.
Oh, the county board.
No, just the Baytown
oh,
board,
Baytown.
without getting the
Joint
county
meeting with the
involved.
townships.
Like, do you think we could, outside of the county board, which is kind of somewhere we don't want to go? Is there another recommendation?
So, Mr. Chair and Board, you certainly could offer that, saying, we need to resolve this for the sakes of both of our residents. As you mentioned, these roads we need to figure this out so we all can move forward with repairing this road. And we're seeing ourselves with little option other than to exercise a provision in the statute that has the county resolving this. I think it's in everyone's best interest that not happen. And would you be willing to sit down with your attorney and a member of your board, a member of our board and our attorney to see if we can come up with a resolution to this? I think that's a worthwhile offer. I don't know Baytown at all, so I don't know, but I mean, I think it's a worthwhile offer. And I frankly think that if this does end up in the county, that they would appreciate the fact that you made that offer.
I mean, you've done a great job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, so, yeah, we could certainly, make that proposal to, Baytown, and, I'm fine with, trying that.
It adds to the time, I mean, it makes sense. It adds to the timeline.
Well, not necessarily, but if we can overall stay out of the county business, I don't know how long that takes, but I'm assuming it's not quick.
Yeah, good point.
All right, I will, I'll approach, their chair with that proposal. Will we do that? Would you suggest just a joint, like a meeting of both boards? We're only three people on our board, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Whatever you think.
Okay. All right, I'll make that proposal. Very good. Okay, anything else? We've got, any other old or new business to talk about? If not, go ahead.
Well, now that it's April, I think we need to have a plan on how to advance this website situation. Carrie sent some wish lists or some features that she would like. I don't know if others have features that they would like, but I think coming up with some sort of evaluation matrix of, need to have or want to have, and then interviewing 2 or 3 of the companies, scoring them at how they meet our needs versus cost, and then advancing that, because that will be a bit of a project. I think just that transition, I think everyone's excited to leave some of our existing services,
Right,
email.
definitely.
So I watched the November meeting and there was 2 companies, there was 3 bids. There was 1 recommended and there was a second. Would it make sense to have, are we talking about having them come in and do a demo, those 2?
Yeah, we should redo a demo, but I think, in advance of that, we should have some sort of consensus or agreement on what we're looking for.
Sure.
Because if we all went like car shopping together, like we would not come out with a car.
So build a requirements document.
Yeah, just some
Yeah.
agreement on the
And then-
requirements.
And then you said a decision matrix as well, right?
Well, just
Like,
just
so we
just
can
sort of
score
checklist. So we have some agreement on the what we're looking for,
Sure.
and mostly what Carrie's looking for,
Oh, there you go.
and Jenny and Marcia.
So, right, some combination of what's needed internally and then of course what the residents. I would volunteer to take a stab at the requirements document. Good. Okay. And I don't know what the next step would be, but after that.
Well, I think at the
I will-
next board meeting, we can look at that and agree on it or modify it to get agreement, and then we could proceed, I think.
That makes sense. I'll do that.
Thank you.
All right, so maybe we should just have this as an agenda item for the next board meeting, that we're gonna go over this, requirements document and then the decision matrix, did you call it?
Just some sort of some way to
Yeah,
evaluate it.
right.
Some way to, like a
Yeah.
Okay,
score sheet, basically.
excellent. Okay,
Makes sense.
yeah. All right. Any other old or new business before we move on to our public comment section. Time for public comment. Has anybody got any? Somebody shifted in their chair but didn't stand up, so. All right. All right, well, if there isn't any, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.